Hey everybody, it's XCOM and I'm bringing you my Dragon's Maze pre-release winning deck. It went 5-0. It was pretty good. The main aspect of the deck that really brought it to the top were just the life gain in general was so hard to come back from because most of the games it would just be basically a race to win between me and my opponent. So anyways, it's green, white, black. I chose Simic as my guild, but I didn't get enough Simic to really go with that strategy, and I got a whole bunch of good Orzhov. The main card in Orzhov that really made me want to go Orzhov was I got 3 of these Tithe Drinkers, which are really powerful for what they are, for just how cheap they are. But anyways, I'll just go through the list. We start off with Centaur's Herald at 1 mana. Centaur's Herald's very basic, but it's always been good. Just 1 mana 0/1, and you can turn it into a 3/3 Centaur later. Just very good in a Selesnya deck where you might be able to populate that Centaur. And otherwise, just in general, decent. Then we have a Dryad Militant. Dryad Militant isn't amazing. It's basically just a mixture of like a Savannah Lions, Elite Vanguard type card. And then it exiles instants or sorceries. That never came into play a single time, so it was basically just a 1 mana 2/1. So, pretty powerful for its mana cost, but overall not the most crazy thing. Now here's Tithe Drinker, which was honestly, even though it's really cheap and really little, it's probably the most powerful card that was in this deck because it just gets out there so quickly and gives you so much advantage because you get to gain a huge life advantage over your opponent just with Lifelink and Extort, 2 very good abilities in Limited. Extort really rose to the top in Gatecrash, I believe. Extort was probably the most powerful mechanic, even if Orzhov arguably might not have been the most powerful guild. I still think Orzhov was the most powerful guild in Gatecrash, but some people like to argue otherwise. But yeah, there's no arguing. Extort is a very, very powerful mechanic in Limited. And to be able to get it out for just 2 mana just lets you get that early advantage and really helps you race your opponents. The only other 2 mana creature was Greenside Watcher. He didn't really do much. I do have 4 guild gates, so he did end up tapping 1 or 2 gates, but otherwise he was basically just a 2 mana 2/1, so not the greatest, but you need some filler cards in Limited, and that's exactly what he was. There's the 3rd Tithe Drinker, just so you know. I had 3, so I was like, alright, I'm playing Orzhov and Selesnya. Oh, speaking of, I was Simic, and then my allied guild was Selesnya, so that's why I ended up having enough white to really be able to go with the green, white, black rather than with the Simic. So anyways, Lev Decree was alright. It wasn't the greatest thing, but it was good in basically in races, which a lot of the games ended up being. So it was pretty decent, but I didn't draw it too often, so I didn't get to play with it a whole lot, but it was definitely a good card in races. Like I said like 5 times, I just say the same thing over and over again if you haven't noticed. But anyways, here's Drown in Filth. Drown in Filth, it was not as good as I thought it was going to be. Basically, if you were playing against the Mirror, it was really good because they would have milled you before, so you would have had probably a few lands in your grave already. But otherwise, it would give a -1/-1, maybe a -2/-2, and so whenever I needed that -2/-2, I ended up, flipping over just like 1 land and just getting the -1, so I probably wouldn't really recommend this card. This is really like your probably 23rd, 24th card in your deck if you really, really need it. I don't know. Tell me your thoughts about Drown in Filth, because maybe I just got unlucky with it. Maybe it is a good card, but I didn't think it really was. Then for 3 mana, Sunspire Griffin, just very basic, just 3 mana, 2/3 flying, everybody knows flyers are good. Then there's Selesnya Sentry, just like in Return to Ravnica, it's just decent early game, comes in, bashes some face, and then if it survives till late game, it gets better with that regeneration, manages to block bombs and all that jazz. Has the Snare Squad. Snare Squad's pretty good. It's really good at stopping an assault against you because it's got a pretty big butt there, and it also helps you get through with your own attacks by tapping down your opponent's guys, but it's a little more powerful in stopping attacks than in getting your own attacks through, simply because it only has 1 power, so it doesn't really do much damage by itself, but If you do have like the lifelink guy, then it is really, really good, the Tithe Drinker, because it lets you get that lifelink through. Once again, just drain your opponent's life from them, get a good advantage out. I'm going to zoom in and zoom out because I'm weird. Alright, just because my screen was going dark. I haven't changed the settings on this camera because I'm stupid. Anyways, and then Unflinching Courage. Unflinching Courage is really great. It's an armadillo cloak. +2/+2 trample and lifelink is no joke. Just any creature that doesn't already have lifelink, you just give it lifelink, make it huge. It's very... dropping stuff. Very, very powerful. Once again, the life gain really lets you get a quick advantage on your opponent. Then Common Bond. Common Bond, another one of those cards that's just alright. Not the greatest, but it is good in certain situations. Like, you know, you can make your opponent that's playing like Rakdos with a bunch of Unleash, you could put counters on their dudes so they can't attack, or, you know, put counters on your old dudes to trick your opponent into losing a creature. Just a nice little combat trick. And then Putrefy, very basic. If you pulled a Putrefy and you're playing green-black, you're going to play Putrefy. It's just another removal spell. Definitely one of the best removal spells printed. Everybody loves it. Then there's a Sunspire Gatekeepers. Most of the time it's just a 4-mana 2/4, as I have 4 gates. So that's about... after you've drawn about half your cards, odds are you'll have 2 gates, but in this deck, if I'd drawn about half my deck, then odds are I'd have 2 gates, but otherwise, most of the time, I'd play this guy before I'd drawn half my deck, or before I'd drawn 2 gates, so usually just 4-mana 2/4, but when he does get that extra creature, it is nice. The extra creature was never anything too crazy, actually, though, because my opponent would usually have something bigger than a 2/2, so he would really not attack the 2/2 Vigilance. Would just kind of sit there. Maybe be populated by like Eyes in the Skies or something. Eyes in the Skies, another card. If you've played Return to Ravnica, you know the card. Just very basic. Just lets you get some chump blockers in if you need them. Or you could just poop out a flyer and populate a bigger creature. Or just poop out 2 flyers if you want. Then a Scion of Vitu-Ghazi. Not too amazing. He feels a lot like an uncommon, but that's alright, because he is a very good card in Limited. Yeah, basically just get him out there, just like Eyes in the Skies. He's an Eyes in the Skies with a 4/4 attached to it, which is definitely no joke. So everything I said about Eyes in the Skies definitely applies to him, and then more. Now, in my 5-mana non-creature cards, we have these split cards. And why did I put this in 5 mana? I'm not playing blue. I should have had this in 3 mana, just away. I'm not playing blue, so all I do is use away here. Just 3 mana, target player sack his creature. A little bit overcosted, but that's obviously because it's a split card with Fuse. But even if you're not playing blue, making your opponent sack a creature is good enough that I'd put it in there. Then Profit and Loss. Profit and Loss wasn't amazing. It was just alright. It's really best when you're at the point where both of you have like really big fields of dudes, and then you start getting to the mathematics of it, and your opponent's like, alright, I'm going to swing my team in. Then you can just really get an advantage with it right off the bat. But other than that, it wasn't really that great, because usually you're just going to swing with like 1 dude in, and he'll block with 1 dude, and you'll be able to pick off 1 dude with this. This only is great if there's a really swingy situation going on, which there really wasn't too much. Then there's Alive and Well. This card, honestly, is way better than I thought it would be. This Well gains you so much life, you know, because late game you'll probably have 4, maybe 5 creatures. 8 or 10 life is definitely worth it. When you're playing, like I said, a lot of games where you're racing, which I did, this really gives you a huge advantage. You just basically bring your life back up to like almost 20, or maybe even over 20 if they haven't dealt that much damage to you and you've been life linking and extorting, and definitely a great card. Then we have my 1 bomb. Here it is, Collective Blessing. Not much to say about it. You play it, if you've got like 3 or 4 creatures out, it's basically just you win unless they can remove it. Your creatures get huge. Not much more I can say about it, honestly. Trostani's Summoner. This is another card that's better than I thought it would be. Almost all games would last quite a while. They'd basically be very, very long races. I've said they've been races, and then I've said other things that contradict that, but basically what I mean by they were races was basically the format felt like, just at the pre-release, I'm not saying this is how the format's going to be, and I highly doubt it's how the format's going to be in drafts and sealed where you go 2-2-2. But the format at the pre-release definitely felt like it's just, you swing in with your dudes, your opponent swings in with theirs, you swing in with yours, your opponent swings in with theirs. Just a very basic thing where it's like whoever's got the most creatures or the most life ends up winning. So that's why this guy is so good, because he just gets out there and he gives you more creatures than your opponent. So, obviously, as I said before, if you have more creatures than your opponent, you basically win. That's how my local pre-release was. It's probably different for other people because you might have had better players at yours. I actually had quite a few good players there. A lot of people who went to the last Grand Prix I went to, they all carpooled because they're like that. They are very nice and money efficient. I don't know what I was going to say about it, but anyways, so there were some really good players at the pre-release, but I don't know. I honestly don't know if that's how it was like at your pre-release. If it was, just tell me, because I'm really interested to find out. But literally every single match I had at my pre-release was attack, go, and then opponents just attack, go, and then go back to you, attack, go. So I don't want to be too repetitive, but I'm just trying to imprint that memory into your that logic into your brain, because that is how my pre-release was. Then Slime Molding. Once again, another card, if you played Return Around, okay, you know just how good it is. It's good in many situations because it goes for X. You can, if you want, you can pay one less mana than you have land so that you can extort it, or maybe you just want to get a really big guy out. You can get a really big guy out. Maybe you just want a little guy to chump block. You know, very versatile card. Very good, especially when you get a really big one out and then you populate it with some other stuff. And then Gaze of Granite. This is the one card that if I went back to the pre-release and I could do something differently, actually if I went back to the pre-release, I wouldn't really do anything differently because I won. But I would probably take this out because every single time I drew this, it was a dead card. Because in my deck, I've got so many tokens, I have no idea why I thought it would be a good idea to put this in. I've got so many tokens that's the best thing this thing can do. You can pay just black, green, just destroy all tokens. I've got so many tokens and so many cheap stuff that really, almost every time I drew this, this would hurt me infinitely more than it would hurt my opponent. The only games that it was really hard to win, or it was really easy to lose, that I just totally got wrecked in, were when my opponent would just make bigger dudes than me, or they'd make like a bomb out there, and I couldn't really do anything about it. This literally helps against all the littler dudes, which is what my deck is, and not the bigger dudes. So it helps me against nothing. It helps me against the opposite of what I need help with, because once they've got big dudes out, like 6 or 7 mana, dudes out, this thing costs like 9 or 10 mana, and I just don't have that amount of mana out on the field, so it really did nothing the whole time. I didn't cast this a single time, because either it would hurt me by casting it, or I couldn't make it big enough to do really anything. And then here's my non-basic lands. I was pretty lucky. I obviously got that because I got a Selesnya Guild pack. This one from Dragon's Maze. So I had 2 Selesnya Guild Gates, an Orzhov Guild Gate, and a Golgari Guild Gate. So definitely good non-basic lands. I think in terms of basic lands, I had like 5, 5, 4. I think I had a lot of lands in this deck. I don't quite remember exactly. I took my lands out so I could put them back in the store's land box because I'm very nice like that. But yeah, that's the deck. It won the pre-release, so apparently I did something right. But yeah, comment below what your pre-release was like. I'd like to hear about it. I'm definitely going to go watch some other people's pre-release videos because I had a pretty strange experience. I was definitely not expecting to win. I think this is the first time I've ever won a tournament because I'm terrible. But yeah, I'll see you next video. Don't know what I'll be doing next video. I'll probably just show off a trade binder because there are some cards I want now. if you want to know right off the bat, I want Beck and Call and, what else? I can't think right now, but I do want Beck and Calls. So if you have Beck and Calls, message me, whatever. Anyways, I'll see you all next video. Thanks.